Hey guys, it's T here. So today I wanted to do a speed build. I decided to do a tiny house. I did like kind of a square shape. I think it's about 5 by 5. Um, so tiny houses are pretty popular at the moment, especially in Australia. A lot of people are getting into them. I really wanted to do like a loft kind of style. I find it kind of quite hard in The Sims to do this. Like, I don't know if everyone knows, but a lot of like the tiny houses are on wheels, so they're kind of like a big long caravan, but they have the like up top they'll have like two kind of lofts, which I really like the idea of, but I think we're really limited in The Sims 4 at the moment with the stair choices. So I kind of had to work with what I had. I just put up this little fence to sort of keep it still really open. So yeah, and then I really wanted to have like a skylight kind of thing going on. I had a little bit of trouble with it, as you can see. So I had a little bit of a play around with what I was going to do with that. I ended up with just like just a small section of the roof as a skylight. I did kind of think it would be an idea to have like extra roof around it, but that wasn't really working. So I had to sort of play around with what I had. So yeah, I ended up with a style like this, boxed it off so I could get rid of the floor. And then obviously with the roofs now, you can have these really cool glass roofs. I love it. I love this add to the game. I thought that was really cool. I decided to do a green roof. So a green roof to me is essentially a roof that has greenery on it. So like plants and stuff. I'm really intrigued by them. A lot of the time they help in summer if it's really hot to reduce the heating in the house, which I think is really cool. Yeah, so this is all base game 2. So I really struggled with this. This is totally out of my comfort zone. I am massive on custom content. So you can see as I'm scrolling through, I have so much custom content, and I really struggled just trying to use base game objects in this build. So I did try my best. This is definitely not my favorite build, and this is definitely not my best build, I don't think, by far. I still wanted to share it because, you know, I enjoy sharing the stuff that I create. I originally wanted to do the bathroom under the stairs, but clearly that wasn't going to work. And I thought this kind of half wall sort of idea was cute, so it wasn't fully enclosed. That was a little bit too short, so I went with this one. I just thought it was just something different to have in the house, so you don't just have all walls are completely blocked off, like floor to ceiling. The door I did want to keep, but I did have to change that later on, you'll see, to just an opening. So, you know, you could add like a curtain there or something, which I didn't do. I tried to design this house for 2 people. So I was sort of going along the lines of a couple. But obviously you can just have a single sim in here and change the design up if you wish. I really wanted to have some exposed brick in the house. I love that. I also I don't usually use color. I'm scared of color. But I really went outside my comfort zone and I used green today. I kind of went off with the stairs. So when I first placed the stairs and they were green, I was like, oh, hey, that's cool. You know what? Maybe I should do like a green kind of theme. So I think it ended up working really well. I actually kind of like it. So yeah, that was definitely another thing that was out of my comfort zone. But I think it worked in the end. I thought it was all right. I did try to keep everything within budget, so I didn't go crazy with appliances and furnishings and whatnot. I think it comes in at just under, just over 20,000 simoleons. So it's not, I guess it's not quite a starter home. But yeah, so the way the layout is of the bathroom, because I was silly and I forgot to actually build this with a sim on the lot. So I couldn't get into live mode to triple check that everything worked while I was doing the video. But I did have to change that around slightly with the move objects cheat and using the Alt key, but the content is the same. So the shower, the sink, and the toilet is still there. But just in the video, it's slightly changed. So I think the toilet is where the sink is, and then the sink is over where the toilet is, essentially. That seemed to work. Yeah, so I really wanted to have like a big kitchen, but then I kind of thought, because I wanted to do like the bar and have the bar stool as the seating. But I just couldn't quite get it to work. So I sort of canned the idea and just shrunk the kitchen down in size. And I eventually move it over into the corner, like so over near the bathroom, which I actually really like how it turned out. I thought it was really good. So I really liked that. I did have to play around with it for a little bit. I couldn't quite get it exactly how I wanted it. But then I eventually get there. So I still really wanted that bench. It just was not going to work at all. So unfortunately, it didn't have that. It didn't have the big table that I wanted, because obviously this is a tiny house. So, you know, you need to shrink things down a bit. I still got a decent amount of bench space, which I was happy with. So I didn't just have like a sink and then, you know, no other bench space, which, you know, I've seen other people do, and I don't know, just wasn't too keen on that. So yeah, I decided to move on to the lounge room and have it here kind of under the stairs. It does work. So I did actually go back in game and I did check to make sure that this all works with the way I set it out. I did put the table in. Obviously, I would have kept it under there if it was just for one sim. But because I kind of wanted to make this as a couple's house, I did have to move it out here. And yes, it does work. It works perfectly fine. So the Sims will walk around it and they'll sit at both chairs. So that's all good. But yeah, so originally, like, I would have just put the table underneath the staircase and then had the chair there. But, you know, I did want to have it for two people to be able to live in the house, because, you know, I don't just think tiny houses should be a single person kind of design. I definitely think that you should be able to have more. I would actually really like to do a family home tiny house. I think that would be a crazy challenge. I'm not sure how it would work with the Sims. Like, obviously in real life you can get fold away furniture and whatnot, which is awesome. But I don't know. That would actually be a really cool challenge. Let me know if you guys would actually be keen on me attempting that. I think it could be quite disastrous, but you never know. It could work out. I might have to decide how many Sims, like 3 family, 4 family. I'm not sure. But yeah, so I wanted to add, obviously, the range hood. I like trying to make my houses and my designs as realistic as possible. So generally when I'm building, and I'm building just like a normal size house, so not outrageous, I don't really enjoy big builds. I kind of get bored really easily, and then I mess up the layout and it's all just too much. So generally when I do just an average build, I really like clutter. So in the kitchen, I'll have pots and pans and plates and food. If I've got pets, I will have like pet food and all that kind of stuff. So I have a lot of custom content that's like that. So yeah, I wanted to have a double bed. It wasn't going to work. I was really, really reluctant to do what I did. I think I'm happy with my decision though. So you'll see in a minute that I decide to bump the the floor out a bit more. So it's just a smaller kind of loft, which I kind of didn't really have a choice if I wanted to have a double bed in there. And obviously wanting to create it for 2 Sims to live in, I had to do that. So there was a little bit of playing around with like the Alt key. So with bb move objects on, and then playing around with the Alt key to get the bed so that you could access it from both sides. I didn't have a chest of drawers or anything in there. I did put a computer in because I think that's a good thing to have in the house. I probably could have gone without it or maybe done a smaller one. Now I'm thinking about it, but no, I think it's pretty good. I actually am just realizing now too. So I actually had to take these out of the game, the clothes. I really wanted to keep them in because obviously it adds a bit more realism. You know, you got to have your clothes somewhere, and in a tiny house, it's kind of cool to have them hung. So I actually did have to take them out because it didn't work. But you could actually have it hanging over the bed and then swap that picture around. So that could definitely work. So moving on to the front, I'm not the best with the exteriors. Like I said earlier, I've really, really struggled with just using the base game. So like I said as well, it's not overly my favorite build. I'm still happy with it. I'm still pleased with it by all means. And I still really wanted to share it. So, you know, it's definitely not something that I'm embarrassed about. I just don't think it's the best build. I definitely would like to try a tiny house and go custom content crazy. I then have an issue with sharing that though, because I know a lot of you, if you really like it, you want to download it, but you know, it's got all this custom content and I have a lot. Like, I would have to create a crazy list, and I think it would take hours just to develop the links to where I got the custom content from. So, I mean, I could definitely still do a build and you can download it and it just won't have whatever content you don't have in it. And like, you know, you can just get an idea of the type of interior that you could have. By all means, like any of the builds that I do, you definitely do not have to have the interior at all. Obviously, when you place a house and you place a sim, you can make that decision as to whether you want it furnished or unfurnished. Yeah, I did cheat a little bit. I will admit, I do add a little front section out here. I just felt like it needed something. It was lacking to me. So I really wanted to add this, and I am glad that I did it because I think it worked out really well. So I am definitely super happy with how this all turns out. Yeah, it's good. I like, so you'll see in a minute, or a couple of minutes, that I put a barbecue out the front, and that could possibly be weird to quite a few people, but I actually think it really works in this build. Like, I know living in Australia, generally all that kind of stuff happens in the backyard. So I think it was a different little twist that I put on it, which I really did like. So yeah. And then I wanted to make the ground a little bit more realistic. So obviously it's more dirt around where you plant something. So I definitely need to use that tool more often. I'm not the best with landscaping. So, you know, I try my best. Everyone tries their best in this game. You know, everyone's got their own things that they're really good at it and whatnot. I find I'm really good at create a sim. I've made some pretty cool sims. So you know, that's probably my strength, to be honest. Yeah. But this is really cool. I did name it the Comfy Cubby, which I think is a super cute name. I only added a little bit of greenery up the top, and yeah, but it still really worked. I actually had some problems. So my laptop decided that it was going to go flat and the screen completely turned off. And I thought, oh my goodness, I've just lost like over an hour of this build recording. But thank goodness when I turn it back on, I just hit the record button and it came back up and saved it. So I was like, oh, thank goodness. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to share it with you guys. It would have been the end part of the build. And my mouse was going flat as well. So to add to the drama, when it turned back on, my mouse wouldn't work half the time. But obviously speeding up the video a bit, you can't tell. So yeah, I kind of wanted to play around. I wanted to have something on the exterior, some sort of texture, and I couldn't find anything that was going to work with just base game. So I added these shelves as a little bit of dimension on the back. I think they kind of work, like they're not the worst thing in the world, but yeah. So that's my cute little tiny house build. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, you know, it might not be for everyone, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty good effort. So thanks, guys. See you next time.